Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa, and today I'm going to be making a fun pocket flip journaling spot kind of thing out of 12 by 12 paper. So it's pretty much one of those one-sheet wonders from 12 by 12. So I'm going to kind of do these both at the same time. This is a one-sided, and this is a Tim Holtz two-sided. So you can do both of them. They are made the exact same way. There's just a slight difference with the one-sided because obviously it's one-sided. So we're going to start off with cutting. So the first thing we're going to do is cut the 12 by 12. We are going to cut a 5-inch strip. And the 5-inch strip is going to end up being, the flip is going to be attached to a journal page. So if you've got a normal, like you do the copier paper or digital, where you have these sheets, they're usually about 5.5. So if you cut it down to 5, it fits in here nice. So we're going to cut these down to 5. So we're looking for it to be up and down and look good. So let's cut this at 5. And put this part to the side, and we'll keep this because that's the next step. And we want this up and down, so these flowers go up and down. So we're going to cut this at 5. Okay. All right, so the 5-inch piece we are now going to cut, so it is 8 inches tall. Again, we are trying to get it to fit on one of these sheets. So we're going to cut it down to 8 inch. So the 5-inch piece is going to be part of something else. So this is not really much of a choice of which one I want to do. 8. I need 8. 8. Because it pretty much is all over the place. Save that. So that is going to be our base. That will end up going on here. I'll put that to the side for now. So this one's a little bit more of a choice, because do I want this part as the 8? Or do I want this part as the 8? The part that I cut off is going to be part of a pocket that gets flipped, so it will be seen. So which part do I want to get seen more? I think I want to get this bottom part seen more. So I'm going to make this part the 8. All right, and oop, that is 6. That is 8. Okay, so now we've got the second one that would fit onto piece of paper. So put that aside for now because we don't need that for a bit. So we've got the two pieces that are now 5 inches. All right, so for the piece that we cut off originally that is 7 inches wide by the 12 inches, we are going to start with the first cut. Get this out of the way. And the first cut, I should say, once this is cut off, this is actually 4 inches tall because we cut off from 12, we cut off 8, so we have 4 inches. So now we need to cut a 4-inch piece that is going to get married up to this. So we need 4 inches, which is right here. All right, so we got a 4-inch piece, and that is going to get married to this to make a flip pocket. So I'm going to just do the same here. And I think I'm going to do this one. 4 inches, and I'll tell you why I decided to do that when I cut those next pieces. There we go, 4 inches. So this is going to get married to this. Okay, 4 inches. All right, so the rest of this is going to be cut into 2 more pieces. Well, actually 1 more cut. So the first one we're going to cut is 3 inches. So we're going to cut 3 inches off, and this is going to be another flap. So we got 3 inches there. And this last piece is now 5 inches wide. And this is actually going to get folded in half to make the last flap. Let me move these out of the way a second. So this is going to get folded in half to make the last flap. And I need a bone folder. There we go. And we'll do something else to it in a bit. With a piece of paper, and the reason that I'll show you what I've done this is because it gets flapped over, you want to kind of look at it and see what could get flapped over. So with this, if this is my bottom 5 inches and this flaps up, this doesn't look bad forward or back. This could also be, and well, this back side is generic too. But when I thought about this one, this is what I cut off the top. If this was 5 and I folded it up, did I want to have this it could have been okay. But you know what I mean? I don't want it upside down. Like if this was the piece and I folded it up, this would have been upside down. So kind of want to look at what your 5-inch piece is going to be for it. So we're going to cut 3 inches off. And I'm going to cut 3. And we got the 5. Now with the double-sided, if I wanted to have this the outside for it, I could do it this way, but I'm going to have this as the outside. I guess I didn't pick one that really had much of a choice. I do like this better as a flippy pocket. This ends up looking the same anyway, so it kind of was worked out by itself. All right, so let's start with this single one first. Okay, ooh, and your scoreboard. Okay, so this first one, we are going to score at 2 inches. Okay, and that is not scoring very well. Let's try this side. It's a little bit thicker paper, so. All right, so that original piece that we cut off of the this piece is now going to make it become a pocket. Okay, and then we're going to score, this is the 3-inch, and we are going to want to make them go opposite. This is, should have started this again. This one is the top flap, this is going to be the middle flap, and this is going to be the bottom flap. So I'm going to want them to go opposite. So if this one's going this way, this one needs to flip this way. So I need to have the score on this side. And I hope it's not too confusing. When you see it in the end, it'll make much more sense. So I think I'm going to put this one together, and then we'll redo that one. Just to kind of be like, oh, that makes sense. That's why we did it. I have a prototype somewhere that I worked on, and it's really ugly because I use the ugliest paper, and it's got second cuts because when I'm playing with these, they get fixed, they get unfixed, like glued together, scored. Yeah, you can see that they're always a mess, and I always pick the ugly scrapbook paper. Okay, so I digress. All right, so this one's going to flap this way. This middle one is going to flap that way. So this one needs to flap that way. So I'm going to score on this side. And it's a little bit more difficult because it is double thickness is folded in half. So I'm going to flip it on both sides. Now, because it is double thickness, I'm going to cut away one of these squares because I don't need them both in there. So let's cut away that and that. All right, so this is going to be the third flap and the third pocket. All right, so the difference between this one and this one is this cut up piece you can use if you wanted to cover up the thumb holes. All right, so for this bottom one, the pocket is going to get glued in here, and I'm going to put a thumb hole in the front here. And try to center it. There we go. And this one is going to flap this way. Oops, this one's on top. This is center. There we go. This one's the bottom. Oop, I have them backwards. Bummer. The big one's the middle. 3 inches the top, the 2.5 is the bottom. All right, well, this is going to be upside down for a bit. I'm going to cut a second hole in here, which is not the worst thing in the world, but I'm going to try to mirror it so it doesn't look weird. Okay. All right, so that is going to go on the top like that. This is going to go in the middle like this, and this is going to go on the bottom like this, and it's going to open up, it's going to open up, and it's going to open up. Okay, hopefully it makes a little bit more sense now. All right, I'm going to do this one. So this one is going to have the thumb hole in the front like I intended that one to be. We're gonna, so what I was going to do is this piece that is extra, I was going to cut it in half and glue half of it here to cover the thumb hole and half of it here to cover the thumb hole. But since technically I've cut it on both sides, I'm not going to worry about putting that in necessarily. I'm just going to put this one in. And again, this is not a mandatory thing to do by any means. Not stuff is ever mandatory. You know, you can always do what you want. But if you don't want to see that white inside, this is an option. Another option is just to get some ink, and that is too far over, but hopefully it'll be okay. Get some ink and just darken in. Darken in the spot. But now it looks like it's in there versus when it had the white hole. So that's all that is. Okay, so let's get these pockets glued together, and it's almost done. All right, so for this one, we're going to glue this like a pocket, 3 sides. Now there's a good chance that this piece that I'm gluing in is going to stick out a little bit because one of these pieces is going to stick out because of the fold. And it does a little bit. So 2 things. You can either ink it so it disappears, or if we wanted to, you can go ahead and trim it off so it disappears. Okay. All right, so that is the middle one. The top one is not going to be, the top one is just going to be a writing space. So if you want to leave it the white, since it is the back, the normal back of it, you can make it white. You can add some coffee dye paper to it. You could ink the whole thing. I'm just inking edges just to grunge it up a little bit. All right, that's going to go there. And then the last one is this one that we have, and it is going this way. Right? Yeah, this way. All right, so we're going to glue it down. Just really need to do the 2 sides on this because it is folded. And I've said it before, I leave in all my mistakes just in case, you know, you do something and you're like, oh, how did you fix this? This is how it got fixed. And, you know, show nobody's perfect. I'm by all means not saying I'm an expert at any of this. All right, so these flowers ended up being upside down. This was going to be the back flap. This was going to be the front flap. But they're not terribly upside down. They're a little bit upside down. But if, you know, you wanted to add some sort of label or something to it, most of it can get covered up. All right, so let's get this scoreboard out of the way temporarily. I will have to score that other one in a second. Whoops. Okay, so we are going to now glue this together. All right, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to start with gluing the bottom one in. And I'm going to glue this whole flap down. And we do my best to push it onto the cardboard and make sure it's not hanging off the bottom. And there we go. Now, if it was done correctly, this pocket would have this color on the back, but it's not going to be seen anyway because it's going to get eventually attached to a piece of paper. Okay, so now we're going to do the second one, or the top one. It's the second one I'm doing, but we're going to do the top one because we want to make sure that we sort of center the middle one or make it look aesthetically pleasing. All right, make sure it is solid to the side of that and not sticking out of the top. All right, so what we have so far is this flipping and this flipping. So the last one we need to do is this middle one, and it's going to rest here. So you got a bit of room to play with it. You can put it down a little farther. Let me see if I got. Let's take one of those cards I did recently. This is a pocket, so we'll be able to stick stuff in there. And then this middle one is a pocket, and we'll be able to stick stuff in there. So depending on how far up you put this, you can have taller or shorter things. I pretty much like to center it so that the flips are covered. And I just noticed that this is sticking out a little bit in white, so I'm just going to trim it. Now, if you wanted to, you could also, round these edges. Lots of options. All right, so this is going to go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we're going to flip it over one more time. We're going to once again make sure it is secure onto there. And we're going to put the glue on there. And I know it might seem like, oh, that was like kind of crazy. Only because, Lisa made it a little insane. It's really pretty simple for quite a stunning piece of work. All right, there we go. So, like I said, this would then get glued onto a journal page, and this would open up. I'm just going to put a little fake card here. It's easier if there's one thumb hole. There we go. So I'm going to pretend that's a regular card. So that would go there. And we'll put this into there. All right, so that would flip open. If you wanted to make this a journaling spot, you could always put some paper down there, flip that out, same thing with that journaling spot. And then this, because it's white on the back, is a journaling spot. And if you wanted to put some sort of paper there, you could also make that a journaling spot. So we got flipping it, flapping, flopping. And then the last but not least is if you wanted to, you can glue this whole page down so it's sturdy, or you could glue it 3 sides and make it another place to put some stuff. Got stuck a little bit. It'll get stuck on there, but I think once it was glued in, it'd be fine. Put a little tab, something on there, and you'd have another piece to be able to stick in there. So cute. I love it. So that is a great way to be able to make something when you put something in your journal that is plain and doesn't have anything on there. And I think I have one sheet. Not necessarily, that's a little springy, but I do have somewhere in this fall journal I did. And if you haven't seen this, there is a freebie out for this fall journal. Ah, there you are. I have one coffee dyed in here. So if I wanted to, I could put it in there and be able to have a flip-flop journal in there. Actually, looking at this might actually go in there. We'll have to see what that looks like. All right, so let's make this one that's the double-sided, and maybe it'll make more sense now that I have shown you this first one. All right, so we've got the background piece here, and we have the 4-inch piece that we cut, which is going to be part of the flap, and that is going to be part of the pocket. So if we wanted to flap that way, this is the top one that is just a journaling space. So if we wanted to flap that way, and then this is the fold, and I think I want that pretty side up on the top. I think I'm going to want to put that on the top. Now that I'm looking at this, so that'll be the pocket side. Flip, flip, beautiful. Flip, I'm fine with that. Both sides are pretty plain, so I think I don't mind that. So this one needs to go to this side, which kind of works out good because then I got that ticket. And that is going to be wrapped around. Okay, so this made more sense now to me on how to figure out what to do versus before how I kind of just winged it and it didn't work out well. All right, so this one, it needs to be scored 2 inches here. And I will still cut out that piece because of the bulkiness. All right, 2 inches and 2 inches. All right, and I think I'm going to cut out the back side because I want to keep, this would be a great little thing to add to something. All right, so you are going to go right there. All right, so for this one, we are going to score the 2 inch here. Here we go. And this is going to get glued in to there. And this is going to go 2 inches here. Yeah, that made it a lot easier to lay it out on the piece. Know what you're dealing with. That is going to go right here. Okay, let's get the scoreboard out of the way because I think I'm done with that. And let's get to gluing. Oops. Okay, so this one, we will put a small thumb hole right about there. And since this is double-sided, I don't have to worry about what's on the inside because the back is taken care of. All right, so let's glue it since we have it here. And this just gets glued up. Up the 2 sides. All right, you are ready to go. All right, so this one, we're going to do a little thumb hole right about there. And we will glue this in place. Now, if I wanted to have the backside flip like this, so it's a little bit more journaling, I could do that. I think I want the decorated side for it. I think it's fun. And if I'm going to use my Tim Holtz papers, I want to see my Tim Holtz papers, right? All right, doing my best to try to line this up. And of course, it's a little bit hanging off the top. There we go. I'm guessing it was a little off the top. It's a little off the bottom too. It was just put on slightly angly crooked. Not a lot, but just enough. Okay, so this is this one, and this is this one. All right, so we're ready to glue in. Flip her out over, and once again, we're going to glue the bottom one in place. All right, get it close to the bottom. It's not sticking out. There we go. I don't mind if it's up a little bit, and I'll show you. It's up just a hair, but I think that's okay. All right, and then we're going to glue the top. Again, same way, trying to line that up just a hair below it. And wrap it around. All right, so we've got top one, which is just a writing space, which is actually a very good writing space with the grids. This bottom one that is a pocket. Again, we have a little pocket there. That's going to go like that. And last but not least, we're going to want to put this one in. All right, doesn't really matter on the top because nothing's going to get hidden, but for the bottom, and I guess that 1/8 and mark it will get hidden, but that is okay. I think I'm going to make it so that line, I'll do my best to make that line where it's at. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now flip it around and glue. Well, I hope now the second one makes a little bit more sense. I know it's kind of hard to show it the first time without seeing a final product. And I probably really should have made a final product that looked good the first time. But like I said, that first one I made, I knew what I was doing. Well, there it is. I just saw it peeking out. Here's the first one. Now you can see it's a mess. I kind of glued it poorly up there, but this was the scrap of paper that I used to do it. Same concept, just thinner paper. Thinner paper does work. Yeah, but that was, I wish I would have tracked that down, but I wish I would have made it better, just to make it look better, to show you what it looked like. All right, one last little bone fold, and there we go. Now I do have I forgot I pulled out, I had when I was pulling this piece of paper, the piece behind it was one of these cut apart sheets, and kind of fun to use these in here. Yeah, that looks, see how pretty that looks? And then cut one of these. Yeah, that's cute. All right, I just want to round this corners a little bit. Put a little ink on there. I really do. There we go. Trying to put something in left-handed doesn't work. Is this glued together? Oh, no, it's not. There we go. make it stick out a little bit. And let's ink the edge of this one. Lovely, right? Very lovely. And like I said, definitely could put some sort of labels or something down here. Have this sitting there. I haven't used these in a while. Too red? That's probably too red. Actually go with that. We have that, and what about a number? Can't go wrong with a number. That sheet's almost done. I think I'm going to put that up there. Don't need to block the flowers being upside down. I just like the green. I mean, I definitely could put more on there than that, that's for sure, but just to throw a little bit something on there. And being there is white in there. If you don't like that, you could, like I said, go ahead and throw a little ink in there just to make it be a little more grungy. Yeah, cute. All right, now for this one, I don't think these look too cutesy, I think, to put in here. Yeah, we're not gonna put those in there. We'll save that. We'll save that for something else. Yeah, I'll put that up here. There we go. Yeah, I mean, something little down there might work, but for right now, I am fine with not until I figure out where it ends up going, that I want to put it there. All right, so I got that added, and I almost forgot that I wanted to possibly see if it would work in here. And I know I said I might decorate this, I might not, but you know what? That goes so well together. I just kind of got to, right? All right, I think I'm going to add it as a triple pocket, or what you want to call a three-sided tuck spot. So if I have something I want to put in there, I can. All right, well, I think this is going to be it for me today. I hope you liked the video. If you do, a thumbs up would be great. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and would like to see more videos, please do so and hit that subscribe button, as well as clicking the bell notification so you get notified when new videos pop up. If you've been around for a while, you might know that over the Christmas holidays, I have my Etsy store, so that keeps me kind of busy. So I've been kind of doing a video every other day. Might end up doing a video every 3 days if it gets a little busier. We're going to have to see how it goes. It's definitely a lot slower this year from the economy, as we kind of all well know. It is a little bit tricky. I love it. That is very cool. And this definitely looks like old-fashioned with that truck. Yep, I love it. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, I like it. I'm glad I remembered to put that in there. I had to stop the video and double check where I was at. So, all right, but I digress. So, if you like the video, thumbs up, and that is going to be it for me today. I appreciate each and every one of you that stopped by, and as usual, I hope you all have a wonderful and creative day. Bye for now.